Good morning, boys and girls. It is time for our EL lesson. Today we are going to be looking back at the book Off to Class, and we're going to be learning about a school in India. Our learning target today is I can compare and contrast my own school with the doorstep school in India. So let's take a look at our story. Now, while I am reading, I would like for you to be listening for ways that this school is different, such as what the students learn, what materials they use, and what weather they experience. And then I would also like for you to be listening for how they are the same. Okay, so we're going to be reading about schools that go to kids, and this is in India, which is in Asia. India has more street kids, about 18 million, than any other country. In India's big cities, a lot of obstacles can get between these kids and school. When kids don't have an official address, they can't register at a school. Some live in slums that are far from schools and they have no way to get back and forth every day. India also has millions of child laborers. So instead of going to school, these kids have to work. Other kids miss out on school because they have to take care of their brothers and sisters while their parents work. So what kind of school could work for all these kids? One that comes right to their doorstep. In fact, Doorstep School is the name of a group that brings classes to kids across Mumbai and Pune, two of India's biggest cities. The group runs three buses known as School on Wheels that give the term school bus a whole new meaning. Now, right here's a fun fact about 200, well, not really a fun fact, an interesting fact. About 215 million children throughout the world have to go to work instead of going to school. So, boys and girls, we are so lucky that we get to go to school instead of having to work as a child. Two school on wheels buses operate throughout Mumbai, and the other one drives around Pune. Every day, the buses drive certain routes, stopping at specific spots so the children in that neighborhood always know when to expect them. The buses spend about 2 or 3 hours at each spot, and children are free to come and go when they can. The inside of each bus is set up as a classroom. The seats have been removed to make room for a chalkboard and cabinets filled with books, art supplies, toys, and other learning gear. Up to 25 kids can fit inside at once. Kids work at their own pace with help from their teacher. They learn reading, writing, math, social science, and art. They also learn about hygiene, health, safety, and computers. With the bus for school, the School on Wheels takes kids to places like museums, hospitals, banks, and police stations. Through these trips, the students begin to feel included in the life of their city and they learn about the social services that are available to them. Let's take a look at this picture. This caption says the Doorstep School was founded in 1988. Since then, over 50,000 children have been taught at more than 125 locations in Pune and Mumbai. Let's look at this picture. Besides running the School on Wheels program, the Doorstep School helps kids gain admission to their local school to get a formal education. The program also offers kids a daily ride to and from their local school. Here's another fact. The Indian government promises primary education for students between the ages of 6 and 14. That's a big challenge because India is home to almost 500 million kids. So now that we have read about the doorstep school in India, we are going to compare and contrast our school with the doorstep school. Now, when we compare, we are telling how things are similar. So we can use sentences like the doorstep school and my school are similar because, or we could say the doorstep school and my school are alike because, and so we're going to tell how they are similar. We could also use a sentence starter, the doorstep school and my school both, and tell how they're alike. Or another way to start your sentence is one similarity between the doorstep school and my school is. So these are 4 different ways that you can show, um, how they're alike when we compare. Now, when we contrast, we're talking about how things are different. So our sentence could say, "The doorstep school and my school are different because," until how they are different. Or we could use the word unlike. Unlike the doorstep school, my school is, and tell how it's different. Or one difference between the doorstep school and my school is, and tell another way. So on this chart, I am going to contrast. So I'm going to tell how the two schools are different. So in this column, I'm going to put ways that the doorstep school is different from my school. All right. And then on this side, we're going to talk about how they are similar. Okay. So when I'm talking about how they are different, one way um, that I know that they're different, and I'm going to use one of those sentence starters that we just talked about. One difference between the students in India and the students at our school is that the children in India live far away from school. And the students in our school um, live close enough so that we can ride a bus or in a car. And it doesn't really take us that long. So the students live close to school. And so we can get there in a reasonable amount of time where we're not on like a bus for hours and hours or have to walk for miles, miles and miles. All right. Um, so that is one way that we are different from the school in India. All right. What is another way that they are different? One way that I can think of is that at the doorstep school, classes are in a bus. At our school, classes are in a classroom or in a school. Now, when we are taking notes, is what I'm doing here. I'm not writing complete sentences. I'm just getting down some thoughts of what I'm thinking, and then later on, I can put this in a complete sentence. All right. What are some other differences about the two schools? One difference that I noticed was that at the doorstep school, school was only 2 to 3 hours. And at our school, school lasts for, well, usually it's the school's day starts at 7:45 and it's till 2:30. So it's about 7 hours that we're at school. So that is a big difference because we go twice as long as they do. Now, remember, whenever you are reading, it's always okay to go back in the text to get some more information because, sometimes it's hard to remember it all at one time. All right. So we can look back at the text to find more information. Okay, so some other differences in our school is that those students live in a big city, whereas in our school, we live in a small town. We only have about 10,000 people in our community. And when I looked back in this passage, it said that there was almost, well, in that country, 500,000,000 children at in that whole country. So that is, they just live in a totally different type of environment than we do. Some other ways that they are different is their kids have to work. At our where we live, kids aren't have to work. Like we still go to school. They may work like on their family's farm or around the house, but they're not working like in a factory or a place of business for hours and hours. Um, Also, some difference is there, the school comes to the kids. At our school, kids go to school. There, kids can come and go whenever, but here you kinda stay in school. You can't just decide, "Oh, I'm done. I'm gonna go home now," or, "It's time for me to leave because I have to take care of my little brother." Um, let's see, some other differences that I can think of is, maybe there, kids take care of brothers and sisters. Here, a lot of times the kids go to daycare or grandparents, and we're talking about, like, young kids. They have, like, maybe kids your age taking care of their younger brothers and sisters, whereas here, um, we're letting them the little ones get taken care of by the daycare or grandparents or a babysitter. So there's lots of different ways that these schools are different, but there's also a lot of ways that they are similar. Now remember, similar means how they are alike. All right. So I want you to think back to how they are alike. What are some things that we have in common with that school? There's a little kitty cat. All right, so how is this school similar to our school? So I want you to think about some details of how they are similar, and that is how you are going to respond today in the questions below. So I cannot wait to see how you think that they are similar. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.